It's the SDG Podcast. Before we get started, you can check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com/podcast or find us on all the social medias, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Solution Design Group. And we're back for another podcast. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're here with Peter Lawrence, the Magnificent One.
Hi there.
Superfan Chad Judner.
Hi. Superfan? Really quick. Superfan? Or
Super duper fan.
Okay. All right.
Aren't you a super fan?
I used to be the voice
You're the
of reason,
biggest
but I'm
sports
not that
fan
anymore.
I've ever met. I'm just going to say that. I've never met a person more dedicated, a bigger sports fan of the sports. Sarah Rochford. Did I pronounce that right?
Close enough. Hi.
I graduated from Rockford, so I just didn't want to get it right.
It's Rochford, like
Rochford.
Rochester. Yep.
Okay. You know, we've only worked here for like 15 years, so I'll get it right someday. So we're going to talk about architectural katas and specifically around AI. But Sarah, what is an architectural kata?
Yeah. So to take a little step back, why we're talking about it is we recently had Chad and I lead the LCAI community, which is one of our SDG communities. As the name suggests, that's centered around all things AI. And we've had a number of topics that have been great over the last year. Chad has led us through, Amazon Bedrock and the capabilities that it has for AI solutions. Services that support the models that you can find out there on it. He's done live coding for that. Some demos. It's been really fun. And we've had really good engagement. In fact, on our Slack channels, we have folks that, regularly reach out and share questions or, hey, I saw this cool thing. I think it's fair to say that we have a pretty good community of people using and working with, different AI solutions. They're out at their client working in them, but, also just geeking out over their own projects at home, playing with stuff. And so we kind of thought this is the right time to introduce Architectural Kata to the community. So for our April meeting, we decided to do something a little bit more engaging with the community and have an Architectural Kata night. So Architectural Katas, now to answer your question, they're this idea by a guy named Ted Neward, who really promotes them as a way to have like a collaborative software design exercise, where people get together, usually in small teams, and work through like a fictional but realistic, has to be something that could be kind of realistic problem, and then design like a solution, an high-level architectural plan to solve that. So the point of it is it's not the thing that you created. It's not actually the solution. That's not the point of the Kata night. The point of it is that thinking, that process of like, what do you think through? What are the questions you ask? Who are the stakeholders, right? You have to work through those design thinking, and it's to do that. And kind of the purpose of architectural katas is at SDG, one of the things that we do, and Chad can speak to this, his most recent client. One of the things we do is we help our customers, realize they approach us and say, I have a vision. I have this really cool thing I want to do, and I need you to help me with architecting a solution for that vision, a brand new software project.
Yeah, so kind of what we did, what we've been doing up to this point with Sarah and I have been like, here's a model, here's a new thing, here's here's whatever specific AI tool is, we're all talking about that given week, and we do a little thing about it, and that's great. But Sarah's idea for this was like, take a step back and talk about like the bigger picture about how, like, given a problem, how would we architect an AI solution around that to make it something something real, right? So we had a couple ideas. Sarah had a couple ideas. We came to the one around kind of an AI chatbot for home improvement, right? Like take a picture of
nice.
your leaky faucet and you send that to Lowe's, and Lowe's will, Lowe's is not a client of ours, but Lowe's could potentially like recognize the parts and the leak and the whatever, and fill your shopping cart with everything you would need to fix it, or something along those lines, right? Like that's what we were hoping to get out of the conversation a couple of weeks ago when we had the meeting, and it was pretty great. I mean, I thought we had a lot of people that were like snappy and interactive, and then we had some pessimists there, which my buddy Greg was there, which he's like, well, this is just stupid. I'll just, I'm going to build a whatever. And that's great to argue with guys like that, or, have a conversation. We say have a conversation. It's a polite way of arguing. But it was a really neat thing. And I think we're going to do more of those in the future. I mean, the mix between like specific technical solutions and then like more general architectural or, theory, I think is something that we're going to try to mix in more often with some of these.
So is this something that like you have to be an expert, an AI developer type person to be involved in?
I think the idea is it's a learning community, right? And specifically around leveling up skill sets around AI and presenting problems that we might actually face, right? And like talking about potential solutions, tools, and paths to get there. So maybe, and maybe not a novice problem, right? Like maybe not like, hey, I kind of dabble, right? Like, well, that's cool. But what we really want to get at is, I think the purpose of this one was more like, okay, yeah, we have a problem. Let's talk about the entire architecture and the entire philosophy around the architecture. And again, like why some of this is good, why some of this is bad, and why you don't want to throw too much technology at a problem. You don't want to do like overkill or anything, right? But I think the level we struck was perfect. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So and it that doesn't involve just a tech mindset. It obviously does, but having folks that came with other roles, whether we're talking about our product owners or QA sales, coming there and asking their questions, that all it makes for a great engaging session to talk through what ultimately, when you're designing that architecture, those are the questions, those are input, that's feedback, those are things that those are people that you're going to work with when you're designing these solutions, right? So the Kata night isn't necessarily just for the solution architects. It is for everyone to learn that design thinking process and to see how that works and to provide their input and questions. And, we have folks who go out and do this for our clients today, right? And they bring experience from, all our years working in IT and working on software. And now, as AI has come on the scene in the last several years, we're getting more asks around designing those kinds of solutions. And so Katas aren't just a night for leveling up skill set. It's also a nice night for practicing for experienced, practitioners to practice those skills, to hear from their peers and say, oh yeah, that's a great one. They were just out on at a client doing that with AI, and it's great to learn from that experience. So it's a way to not only bring your own experience to the table, but learn from other people's experience too.
Well, it's a challenge because you don't normally have a lot of solution architects sitting in a room solutioning at a client, right? Normally they bring on one solution architect to kind of drive the project and get together with everything. And this way you're able to hear other people's ideas at the same time. And I was also just thinking, like, what a great experience for someone who has the aspiration of being a solution architect to say, well, what do they do? What does it look like? What does that look like? And that discussion should lead, like help somebody understand, oh, I don't have anywhere near as much experience as these folks do. I might want to wait a little bit, or I'm there. I'm ready. Let's go. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that's fantastic. And I think the idea of being able to kind of show up and be a subject matter expert and kind of play that specific role, it's like, yeah, but don't expect that you're going to be able to hang with a lot of the technical stuff that's happening, things like that. But you could contribute, and then you can just be a fly in a wall and absorb some sick knowledge.
Yeah, and I think we're going to start doing more of these. I mean, I'd like to start doing more of these this coming year with because when I do these, like I get excited about something. I'm a puppy. I see something cool, shiny, I chase after it and I go nuts. But with these types of conversations, one of the things that I need to have happen more often is for somebody like my friend Greg to say, yeah, that's cool, but you don't need to go that nuts, right? Like that's where I get a lot of value out of these, is not necessarily the technology, but also like somebody telling me the anti-patterns or just telling me calm the heck down, right? Like that's actually super great with these you get excited about something, you get excited about anything, and then you just like you put on, it's tunnel vision. You go down a path and you're like, oh, this is great. And then somebody comes along and they're like, yeah, dude, that's like 3-line shell script that you just spent like 10 hours writing, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
And we had some great engagement like that during the meeting where we came into it thinking, oh, let's try to focus. We were going to have it just for, an hour and a half meeting, and that isn't maybe long enough to, do a full high level architecture. So we decided to kind of break it down and say, for this one, let's kind of focus on the models. That's why it was called Bring Your Own Model Night. Let's focus on the models for it. And we going into it, thinking about trying to set this up, like what kind of questions are we going to get? We're trying to anticipate, where folks might go with it. Like, oh, someone might talk about, let's use LLMs and a multimodal solution because, you got to take a picture and you've got to ask a question. And so we could have, are people going to talk about, GPT-4 with vision? Are they going to talk about Claude? What are the trade-offs? Where are you, are we going to start considering costs with those lead and see what are we going to start talking about with it? Will someone else come up and say, let's do an agentic AI solution, right? Because I don't want to just have put a picture out there and a question and get a one-time answer. I want to maybe we asked a question and they want the ability that if it can diagnose it right away, it'll, instead of responding, it might send you a link to the part that you need, or it might say your problem is too advanced. Here's a list of plumbers to solve your problem. This is not a DIY thing, right? And so maybe agents are the right thing to work with there instead of that, kind of generative AI approach. And so, kind of working through those ideas, thinking this is kind of the direction we're going to go. And then you throw in the community into it, and the questions can go a totally different way, which is fun too.
Yeah, I don't think we expected some of what we got out of that, right? Like I was excited to be there, and I was excited that we had a great turnout. Like that was kind of neat. But then some of the questions came from every direction, and it was, once everybody understood the problem, once everybody was focused, I think it was a pretty cool discussion, I think.
But I mean,
so let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, sorry, Peter, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're going to face that at a client anyway, right? You're going to have those people that are pushing back and saying, why are we even talking about this right now? Why are we doing this? What we should be working on this other problem, or we've got people that can look at a picture and determine a problem. Just send it to a store, maybe have an inbox at a store or something simple like that, right? And so having that discussion, I think, sounds like an awesome time.
Yeah, just hearing different use cases, I think is of value because I want to be able to take a picture of my oven door and try to fix it. So how did it turn out? What was the bring your own model discussion kind of covering?
Yeah, we didn't end up getting to like what tool chains are you using? Are you using LangChain? Are you using DeepSeek? We didn't quite get into any of that. We did talk a little light on the models about GPT-4, but we talked a lot about where the human is going to interact. So it was great because it was that kind of initial problem-solving question gathering thinking that you would do of, well, how are we going to interact with this? Are they going to start by sending it? At what point do you uh, bring a person in into the equation to say, oh, I see that the solution was presented for this plumbing problem, but actually maybe we should take a look at it before we tell, right? So it ended up being a lot focused on the humans in the system.
Interesting. The humans in the AI system. It's a much different topic than it sounded like, but a great conversation.
I think one of the hardest things that we had going into this, well, I made it hard because we changed direction kind of last minute, was coming up with a problem that an AI, like realistic thing that an AI could do. Sarah had a good idea initially, and then we changed directions because for reasons. But actually finding an actual problem that that I can visualize AI simply and like concisely solving, and you think of like the home improvement thing, right? There's image recognition, there's generative stuff, there's working through the vector stores and all of the integration with your own documentation and manuals and everything else. Like all of those problems exist in that one simple little idea of tell me what's wrong with my sink or my oven door or whatever, right?
Right.
And then once we got to that and once people started talking about it, then my mind started like sizzling a little bit with like, well, this could do this and this and this. The ideas that were popped around were started to get really cool. So I think we talked a little bit about RAG and recognition and where the generative stuff actually plays in, and then integrating that into a real app, like in a real web app. And then somebody went to Lowe's and said, hey, they did this already. I'm like, well, shut up. Right? Like, we don't
and again, like with Katas, that's not the point. Like the point of it isn't the thing that you're creating. Like we weren't there to recreate what was already out there. The point was, okay, great, they did it. How would you have done it? Like, how would you have implemented that solution, right? The point is to what's the design thing and how do you arrive at that solution? So it's okay that it already exists out there. This is the exercise is a thinking exercise. And we did, the one thing we anticipated is that data is like it is the biggest thing that we talk about, right? When we talk about AI so often. And so for this exercise, we were like, just pretend you have access to the data. Let's pretend that we've got, they'd maybe all, every time, I don't know, you guys recently, if a pro comes in, they'll take a picture and say, yep, I diagnosed your system. Here it is. They give you a little report. Maybe we've been collecting that for years and they've got a great data store with nice, clean data out there. So let's just take that out of what we have to talk about for this, because that could be its own topic and take hours in and of itself of, are you fine tuning that? Are you doing RAG? Let's kind of leave that aside and let's focus instead on, we're trying to focus in on, in this case, the models or the tool chain.
All right. That's the second time I heard RAG. And is it an acronym? Is it a backronym? What does RAG stand for?
Retrieval augmented generation.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's the idea that like you don't need to retrain an entire model around your data, right? Like you can store your data in like some sort of vector store, integrate it with the model so that when you ask the model a question, it goes out to your own data, integrates that into whatever answer it gives you or whatever, solution it's providing. So it's an idea. I think it's, gosh darn it, Sarah, probably a couple of years old now.
Yeah.
I can't remember the first time I heard of it, but
So when you've got a model with data, right? If you're going to fine tune that model, if you're going to sit there and train it, it's a expensive, laborious. It's a process that's not cheap for companies. RAG can be used in conjunction with that or in place of, in some cases, to try to improve that that data. How you're interacting with it. So it's kind of a lighter alternative to fine tuning and can work together nicely to help produce the output that you're really looking for, like quality and the results.
And kind of limit your answer space a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I got distracted. I just got a notification that Pablo Lopez is off the IL and he is starting tonight versus the Angels. That's super exciting for me.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know why I call him Superfan.
That's right. But the fact that the team actually texts Chad to tell him that they're coming, people coming off the DL is super exciting.
Well,
he's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's weird that they say, "Are you okay with that?" at the end of the text. Like, you don't have to ask, guys. Just throw them out there, right? We'll be fine.
So since you did ask,
yeah.
All right. So we covered RAG. We got through the katas and everything. Well, not everything. We got started on it. So does the kata end? Does it keep going? What happens now?
Well, I do think it'd be fun to do some more of these this year. Maybe focus on different aspects of, what goes into architecting a solution. We kind of focused on models this time. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to do another one and maybe do a little bit more of presenting, what the goal is of the thinking, because we're pretty good as a group being social. It's fun to get together. And bouncing off some of those creative ideas can distract us a little.
You may start talking about baseball or something like that.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah. If anybody shows up with a laser pointer, we're like cats. We're like, oh shit, now we're all over the place.
So how did you guide everybody through what they were supposed to do? Did you do breakout groups and kind of give everybody instructions?
So
are you going to kind of have a series of these where you carry it over and keep that conversation going?
I think we're going to bounce back and forth between deep technical dives, right? Like our next one is going to be on MCP. And then I think we can go back and forth between real deep technical talks and then more general, how would you design a blah, right?
So before we get too far, MCP, for those of us playing the home game, is that an acronym too, or is
it is? No,
do you pronounce it MCP?
Yeah, no, it's the model context protocol. It's Anthropic trying to standardize a way to talk to models instead of every company that produces a model coming up with their own tool chain that might or might not integrate with LangChain, So that's what the MCP thing is all about, is trying to come up with a standardized way of communicating with models. And it's still relatively new. I think it's, 4, 5, 6 months, which in AI land is an eternity.
Yeah, they haven't thrown it away and gone to something new yet.
Yeah, but the adoption is actually picking up. So we're going to talk about that next.
Fun.
And then, I don't know, Sarah, do you want to give a preview of the one annual event that we all absolutely want to do?
Yeah, and I think just to build on what you were saying, I think having some of those deep dives, those are still foundational to, our community has great engagement around that. And they're foundational to, building those topics and skills that we need going into the Katas nights, right? If we're going to do another, or when we do another. And so we have the deep dive that Chad's going to lead for the next one. We also have a couple of partnerships coming up with SDG Presents, and we've got OSN is coming up here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we've got some topic nights around some of those. But we last year introduced and at the end of August, we had a topic night of AI on a stick. And we'd like to kind of keep that going as like an annual topic night where we can get together, like a great get together, almost, if you will.
Kind of a great Minnesota
Great
get
Minnesota
together.
get together. Yes, that's
There you
right.
go.
And have a topic that is kind of everyone's bringing their own to the table, right? We're gonna have a topic night for that too. So
And until you get through the food that you've chosen, you can still discuss it. But once the corn dog is gone or the pronto pup is gone, then move on to the next one.
yeah, I mean, last year I brought a bucket of Sweet Martha's cookies.
Nice.
Yeah. So last year we
nice.
did this. Sarah went and got Sweet Martha's. You threw them in the stove or the oven before, so they were nice and warm. And then after the conversation, about almost a dozen of us went to the state fair, the Minnesota State Fair, which if you're not from Minnesota, is a huge deal to us. Our lives kind of revolve around the state fair, right? Like other holidays are great. There's Christmas, whatever. There's New Year's. But in Minnesota, the state fair is everything, right? Like we go there constantly. We look forward to it. We cry when it's over. So this year, we're going to try to make it bigger and better. We'll do an AI presentation that will end promptly at 4:30, and then we will bus as many consultants as possible to the Minnesota State Fair. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, 2 years ago. It was a topic night that you were leading on AI. I think that was kind of an intro to AI topic night 2 years ago. And then last year we had our AI on a stick.
Yeah. So I think the on a stick concept is going to persist till for the entirety of Sarah and I leading the community. Like it's just going to be a thing. The post AI on a stick state fair visit also will persist. As an older gentleman, I have to lessen the tummy ache, but I can't handle that as well as I used to. I will be honest, the state fair food experience, that is a young man's game. You can't go as hard these days as I can't go as hard as I was.
Everybody has that like one or two things that they just have to have at the state fair. I have to have a Philly from Andy's Grill every time.
It's one of the best things though about the SDG communities is the chance to get together and just totally geek out on a topic, and then the chance to go have some fun too.
So I did attend an Architectural Kata thing that Paul put on, and I filmed like a little commercial for it, and so I felt obligated to show up.
We revived Paul's Architectural Kata's nights.
Yes,
with an AI attention to it.
I should tack on the audio at the end of this. But I attended because I did the commercial, but I had no idea what I was getting into. Is there a need for coaches in that space to kind of guide people through? If you're going to break off in groups, like, is there a specific step-by-step thing that you do? How do you onboard people into a Architectural Kata?
Yeah, so Chad and I had gotten together to chat and plan for how we were going to introduce the problem space, how we were going to present, like what the goal of the night was. Like the goal here is the design thinking. The goal isn't, we're not here to create the solution, right? So, and then it's kind of like being the DM to a game, right? You're kind of presenting the challenge, putting it out there. And then typically there's going to be questions they're going to ask, like, well, what about this? And so as we're trying to frame what a realistic problem might be. We at our night, it was a lot of, well, what would you do if someone asked that? What are some possible things? So we tried to also encourage the community to think of what the answers to those questions were, not just the full game for the night. So we tried to use it as a thinking exercise and say, okay, yeah, that would be a question. How would we handle that? What would what are some possible things that could be said to that? So yeah, there's a little bit of setup that you have to do to walk through those katas for sure, to walk through that design thinking.
But like a good DM, you can probably take the problem set and then help guide your troop of people that have been there and done that, right? Like they know how the game's played. They maybe just haven't seen this dungeon or something like that, right? And you kind of keep the guardrails on and keep the discussion going.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of one of the harder parts of that event is, I mean, here's the thing, like we all enjoy hanging out together and we're all hilarious. And every once in a while, the opportunity to make a joke or do whatever, like, it detracts from like what we're actually trying to accomplish. Now, that said, I have no ability to restrict any of that, and I'm actually probably part of the problem feeding into that. So I'm really looking in the mirror and complaining about myself.
So we need to do a kind of rehearsal video where we show people like doing a kata as an introduction and make that available like before the game day, and you're doing an architectural kata. You can kind of watch an example. So is that something we could do? Or is that a horrible idea?
Here's the thing. I think people, I mean, maybe, but people are giving up their free time to hang out with us to talk about AI and katas and everything else. So it needs to be entertaining. I don't necessarily want to give out homework before we do one of these things. I just want people to be in the room, and I want to have kind of like a general guided discussion around this, which is exactly what happened, right? And I think we are going to continue to get a pretty great turnout if we can do exactly what we did last time and just spice it up with another one or two little things.
I completely agree with Chad. And I think that if as we do more of them, and folks return, like you kind of get a hang of it. Like, this is what I'm here for. We're gonna geek out about this area of this solution architecture, and we're gonna come with questions, and people are going to bring their expertise to the table and be like, no, I think this would be the way to do it because this is what I just saw at my client, right? Because we've seen that before, right? So I think as we do more of them, we'll maybe get there faster with solutioning.
So you don't want to put people in a box. Yeah.
I was going to throw it back to the whole D&D type thing where not everybody, it's not the first time DMs and the first time players all getting together on the same day and just starting from scratch. Like, that happened a long time ago. But now you sort of add a new person to your campaign, or maybe a couple people, and you've got an experienced DM. Or if you're just trying to be DMing for the first time, you're going to have an experienced campaign folks that tell you when you're making mistakes and things like that. And kind of this kata idea is going to probably grow at STG. I mean, I'm thinking of it myself for several different areas. Like, wow, wouldn't that be a great discussion? Not necessarily just AI focused, but in general, architecture, kata, but also maybe higher or lower level, depending on the group, and just running with it.
I think the idea of kind of making it open and not putting people in a box with a stupid video, I think it was a horrible idea after all.
Well, I don't think videos are bad. It's just,
you can watch weeks of a campaign on YouTube. Like, yeah, this won't be that.
But it
So
might
what do
make
you have
wanna
in
play
mind for
more.
the next one?
What do we have in mind for the next one? Probably a new problem, which was one of the harder things.
You're not gonna solve my plumbing problem
Your
all the
what?
way through? My plumbing problem all the way through?
No.
Okay.
Are we talking about your house right now, or is there something else going on, Peter?
Well, you
We
guys
could
were
probably
talking about
solve that
solving a
too.
plumbing problem, but you're gonna have a different problem at each one of these.
Yeah, yeah,
That's nice.
yeah. And I think I mean, maybe eventually patterns start to emerge and we can build off of those patterns and, kind of put together um, training plans or whatever based on, what people are talking about and what people are excited about. But yeah,
Wow.
this last one was pretty cool. And I'll admit, I mean, I went into it, I was a little skeptical because like sometimes it's hard to get people to participate, right? Like, and participate in a meaningful fashion where it's not just, like I said earlier, like not just jokes and armpit farts and whatever, right? Or people just talking to talk, right? Like we didn't want that. We wanted it to be somewhat informative. We wanted it to be um, something that we can, if we can come up with a pattern for this and repeat it with different problems, that would be cool. And then as like literally everything around AI continues to evolve, hopefully presenting a case like this is going to be a way for us to say, like, throw in, like Sarah and I try to keep on top of what's happening. So like, hey, how would MCP help solve this problem? How would, the new model from OpenAI help, right? Or how
Right.
wouldn't it specifically?
Yeah, having different problems, to kind of echo what Chad's saying, having different problems out there helps us think through different considerations, throw new wrenches into the mix, right? So it gives us an opportunity to um, have more fun.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, for sure.
ultimately it is about the design thinking and the learning and learning from each other in a fun and engaging way, right? Like we're not just trying to go and sit and read a manual on something. We can do that if we want, right? This is a time for community, getting together and
Wow.
enjoying learning from each other.
Listen to Sarah just tie it right back.
There you
Communities. It's
go.
right in there. That's awesome.
Well, I can see this happening across, like we have quite a few communities. Um, so I can see this, crossing into the Microsoft.
It was the hour went really, really fast. Once we started going, it went quick. So, and I believe there was Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like we had a happy hour right after. Um, that
Yep.
sounds like something we do.
Yeah, and I thought the thing that I did think was really great is we had folks from across business units there. We had folks across roles there.
Nice.
And I mean, keep me honest here, Chad, but I feel like we had everyone participating, like talking, engaged in the topic. So it felt like a thing to do again.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
That
And the
sounds
happy
awesome.
hour too.
I'll do one of those again too, right? And did the discussion continue on into the happy hour a little bit, or did you guys switch it all straight social then?
So at my table, the conversation, so the problem space, do you call a plumber, fix a plumbing issue? It came directly from the day before I got a notification in my basement that I had water.
Oh,
And became a plumber for a day. I did solve my plumbing issue with a $1.35 part. It was just the little ice maker tube had cracked and had to replace a little piece there, and it was good. But we ended up at the table talking about all home repairs. But that obviously would be a great solve for AI because it's obviously something we're all working with, right?
Oh, every day. Everyday homeowner problems.
Oh yeah.
I was at a different table and we talked about the twins. I want
to
And
know
whether
the
that would
pictures
just-
of my trees. Do I need to cut this down? Yes or no? Is it going to fall on my house? Or one on actual architecture, upload my floor plan and get some ideas.
That's what I need is will this tree fall in the next storm or not?
Yeah. Will my oak get hit by lightning again? All right. Well, I feel like we're starting to wind down, and I know that we got some hard stops happening in about 11 minutes. So did you guys have any parting thoughts?
I'll let Sarah go last. The one thing to look forward to is more of these in the future. And if you're listening to this and you're interested, start to look forward to AI on a stick. Plan a night around it. Maybe take a couple hours off in the next morning.
Start your day a little bit later. There you go. I'm excited about this. This kind of opens up. I didn't really understand the bring your own model kind of thought behind the Kata part, but now that I've heard you guys describe it, it sounds like opening up a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts for me, in not just the workspace that I'm in, but in others that I contribute with, Microsoft and things like that.
And it sounds like something that people can show up to, and they shouldn't be afraid to show up to if they're not super technical. There might be different roles you can play, and you might absorb things that you didn't know. Yeah, I want to go to the next one.
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah,
bring us
absolutely. Home? It's open to all of us. Like you said, bring your role. There's a spot for you in the conversation, and I think it'll be fun to have these again. Have a new problem, get a chance to get together, geek out on a thing, and that idea that we've been doing. We've got consultants here who have been doing solution architecture and bring 20 plus years of experience to the table. And now, AI solutions are a thing we're doing. So that chance to get together and learn from each other's projects and expertise is really fun. It's a fun way to nerd out together.
Awesome. I think with that, we can say goodbye. Thanks for being here, Sarah. And we'll see you all next time.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
See you guys.
Solution Design Group is a digital product consultancy in Minneapolis. Check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com or look for us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Solution Design Group.